Hello everyone, I'm Jake.
And I'm Chris.
And we're here with our first actual Fife Paranormal live stream discussion. We're not doing a spirit box session this time. We figured we'd get a little more personal with you all and talk about some of our experiences, beliefs, and stuff like that. And what are we talking about today, Dad?
Well, we're just kind of setting this up as an open forum. And I think today we're going to kind of highlight some of the places that we've been that we've really enjoyed or that's had some meaning to us.
Alright, so first location, we're going there Halloween night. I'm excited for. I know you're excited for. It's St. Albans Sanatorium. That place, the first time we went was April 2nd, I believe.
Yes.
We went there with a public investigation. It was right from the get-go.
It's a very active location.
Something we've noticed in most of our investigations is it usually takes between 5 to 10 minutes, especially with spirit box, for the activity to warm up. But when we went April 2nd, our first time, we went to the bowling alley and it was active within, 30 seconds?
The whole building it's a very active location. We're still trying to research some of the deeper history of the place. Jake's uncovered a lot of facts. We're actually thinking about doing a short documentary on it. So, that might be something coming in the near future. Just want to give a shout out real quick. The staff there is awesome. Everybody that we've worked with there or been in contact has been really top notch. Really, really enjoyed it. So, some of the locations in the place, Jake mentioned the bowling alley right off the bat. That was, it's a public investigation versus a what would you call it, private investigation?
Yeah.
Two totally different things. You're talking apples and oranges. There's so many differences to it. That was the first time I'd tried to do a paranormal investigation while being on a public investigation. That really threw me off my game there at the start.
It's weird because that was the first public investigation I had ever been on as well. It's weird because it, in a way, feels like a guided tour in the dark. So you want to go to the rooms and take pictures, but then again, you want to investigate.
Yeah, and the guides there are awesome too. They really know the history of the place and everything. I guess the thing that gets me the most about it is there's so many EVPs that were iffy because we're firm believers. When what was it our friend said? When in doubt, throw it out. And that's kind of the rule that we try to stick by. And that's the one thing with the public investigations. But St. Albans definitely high on the list as far as locations to go check out. If you've never been there, strongly urge you to check it out. The bowling alley is very active. The whole building.
We would duck into little side rooms that had no real significance, but it would be insanely active. Like we ducked into this run room. It had a drain in the middle, which was really weird. That's one of the reasons I ducked into it, but it was really, really active, just randomly. I just decided, let's just go into this room, see what happens. And we were on our way to the dragon's room.
And I think part of the theory is, just because you've went to the other side of things and, in spirit form, ghost, whatever you want to call it, I think you still retain a lot of your personality. And sometimes people just don't want to be bothered with by a bunch of strangers. So what do? You get up, leave the room, and go someplace where people aren't. So that's been one of our tactics at St. Albans.
Yeah.
Is kind of be with the group because you got to stay with your group, but kind of look for the little niches off to the side to do actual investigating there.
And that's where we're also taking notes for when we do a private investigation of the hot spots, things to watch out for, things to remember, things like that. So each time we're there, we're scouting a little bit for when we finally do a private investigation.
Yeah, we're collecting stories from the staff and from other people that have been there. Like I said, it's a very, very interesting location. A lot of different haunts going on there for
It's like a paranormal smorgasbord.
For sure.
I don't know.
I have a lot of questions about the entities that are haunting that place, and I do believe that there's honest ghosts there, and I have to say I think there's something there besides that. I won't put a label on it because I don't know, and I'm leery of labels because we have labels that we use quote unquote in house that mean something to us but might mean something else to other people. So we'll kind of keep that. I don't want to use labels.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe St. Albans without putting labels.
And that's another thing with this whole field, if you really think about it. We use a lot of jargon, we use a lot of acronyms, we use a lot of things, but there's no set codex that says this definition means this.
It's up to everyone's own interpretation.
Right, because everybody's coming from slightly different angles. But back on topic, like I said, St. Albans, very, very multiple locations there. from the top to the bottom, from the bowling alley to the birdcage. There's a lot of things going on there. I have to say, after that, I really like the Stanton Train Depot.
Yeah, that's one of those locations that caught us off guard with the level or at least it caught me off guard.
Well, yeah.
Now that was my very first actual investigation, and that took place going on 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's wild to think that it's been 3 years since that.
We went to, what does Marty and them call the tours?
The Ghost of Stanton.
Ghost of Stanton tours. Which, if you haven't checked them out, he's not paying us to plug him or anything like that. Same with same ones, but great bunch of guys. Over at Black Raven Paranormal.
Well-run tour. Really informative.
Very, yeah. They go into the history. They go into a lot of things. So that's kind of our forte too. We love that type of deal. But the Stanton Train Depot, another very active location. Every time we've been there, we've gotten at least a couple of responses.
Oh yeah, it's never been dead. No pun intended.
No pun intended. Where's my drums? But that's been another favorite location of mine. What's another one that's on your list?
Gosh, there's just so many. I really liked Antietam.
Yes.
I loved Antietam. That's one that seems like, usually with our cases, we talk about a certain few. But Antietam just always gets forgotten for some reason.
There's a lot. I mean, it's a very,
it's gigantic.
It's gigantic. It's a huge location. But even on top of that, I mean, you go to some places, and we really didn't do deep investigating there.
No.
Just because of the simple fact of the respect for what happened there. I mean, that was a very bloody battle.
It was the single bloodiest day in American history.
Yeah. And very, if you're a history buff, extremely interested. Good Lord, I mean, just about everybody was there.
Yeah, it was like an all-star cast of generals and officers, future presidents. But everyone.
If you go for the historic value, it's well worth it. But there's definitely an energy there. There's definitely,
especially in the cornfield.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. We didn't, like I said, we didn't do deep investigating there just out of respect for the ground. But at the same time, you can definitely. I don't know how much of it will be place memory or how much of it, I don't know.
There's a lot of signs of place memory, residual type haunts.
But like I said, that's our guesstimate.
Yeah. Now when we were at the Bloody Lane, I want to say Bloody Angle for some reason, but it's Bloody Lane. That's Gettysburg.
That's Gettysburg.
But there was a really intelligent haunt in the Bloody Lane. We actually asked who your commanding officer was, and a voice came over and said Lee, which Lee was the commander of the Confederate forces at the Battle of Antietam, which was really cool because we were like...
Right, but, to me that was kind of a vague answer too, because you asked most rank and file soldiers at the time, they would have gave you their company commander, or something like that.
Yeah, but I guess
it was a good response. It was a good response.
It was good. It was a vague question, not who's your regiment commander.
And in case you haven't noticed, sometimes we differ on evidence, but sometimes. After Antietam, local haunts, really cool place. I liked Montgomery Hall. Well, I was thinking Montgomery Hall.
That's a fun location.
That was a fun location. That was a fun experience.
Montgomery Hall, it was built in the early 1830s, I believe. Supposedly Thomas Jefferson designed the building, and it's the building, and then way around it there's a woods, and supposedly there's quarters for servants and things like that, which for some reason they can't find any evidence of, even though it's local legend, all that stuff. So.
I was going to say, the building burned down, it sat vacant for years, so a lot of the history got lost along the way.
Yeah, but we went investigating with Black Raven Paranormal, Montgomery Hall, and then we went independently into the woods. First off, we loved to hike, and then second off, we had some strange encounters. We saw, what was that creature that we saw? It's like a weird little...
I don't know, it was just...
I don't know what it was.
And like I said, once again, could have been a trick of the light, I don't know.
I don't know, when you're in the woods and you get the feeling of everything looming over you, you have to start to wonder if your mind starts coming up with images.
Well, sure.
Projection.
That's totally possible. I mean, I grew up in the woods, that was what we did for fun. You went into the woods. But, sometimes it gets pretty eerie pretty quick.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't experienced that, go with somebody that knows a stretch of woods and hang out until because once you experience it, it's, hairs on the back of your neck, primordial type stuff. Like I said, Montgomery Hall was a good location, Stanton Train Depot. couple of the graveyards, we won't mention them by name in the area, you know.
Yeah.
And we didn't sneak in after dark. We have never broken any laws, no trespassing.
We're clean.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing about this field, you know, in this endeavor. You know, a lot of people, you got to be respectful. You got to be respectful of the place, the location, rules, laws, you know, the whole 9 yards. And if y'all hear a clicking sound, that's our basset hound has decided to come through and visit. But like I said, you know, I don't mean to get up on a soapbox. But I've had some people like, you know, hey, this place is really haunted. Let's go check it out. Oh, great. Who owns it? Oh, I don't know. We just go over the fence at night. No, you know, we're not going to do that. You know, count me out. You know, there's a few places in West Virginia we've been.
Oh, yeah.
And now we haven't been together, but we've both been separately to
Pocahontas Cemetery.
Pocahontas Cemetery.
One of my favorite locations.
Yeah.
I've been there 4 times in the past year and a half, so I love that.
Very intelligent responses. I did an in-depth investigation of the graveyard and dug up some of the history of it, you know, and all that. No pun intended. But used to be, I don't do it so much anymore. I would carry a pocket tape recorder in my pocket, and as I would walk, I'd make notes and say, you know, hey, interesting tombstone of so and so and so and so, third from the left, you know, just, you know, make little verbal notes, and then I'd go back and kind of write them all out later. And a section of the cemetery is right beside the road. So I was down there, and it's kind of funny. Traffic was coming through, you know, and all that. And I'm saying, you know, hey, that's a pretty cool looking mausoleum. I hate being this close to the road, and, you know, with all the noise. And didn't think anything else of it. Well, the next day when I was going through my notes, and this was broad daylight, you know, I was going through my notes, and when I said I hate being this close to the road, this voice comes across and goes, too bad. You know, so we get a lot of intelligent responses.
Oh, yeah. The first time I went there, I was up towards the top of the cemetery, and I was doing a spirit box session. I had a voice come over. I had already introduced my name and all that stuff. I'd been there for about 20 minutes at this point, and a voice came over, said, Chris, help. And I was like, that's not my name. Then I remember, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like, my dad was here so many years ago. I was like, I wonder if they can sense. But that place is so weird because one section of the cemetery you can have a certain type of thing going on. Some of the spirits have a sense of humor, and it's hilarious. There's this one section, there's a lot of foreign graves up there, and there was one, I swear, it was someone in a foreign accent yelling at me. And that was close to, it was weird. I'd never seen anything like it. It's like this big, massive, maybe 10 yards wide, just a marble slab. And it's a family graves all next to each other, and it was really weird. And I was over there, and someone just came here real fast and just started yelling at me. I was like, what the heck? And it turns out it was, I believe it was Polish, a Polish family or something like that. That was where they were.
Yeah, so that's another really interesting town as far as history, how that graveyard came to be. We won't spoil it. You know, if you're curious, look it up. It's just very, very interesting. And you know, going on down south, you know. Our pilgrimage every year. We didn't get to go this year.
Didn't get to go this year.
But we go and visit Alice Flag every year.
The Grand Strand in South Carolina, you have to do it. Between Alice Flag, Stone Crab Boy, we haven't done that, but I want to do it. The Gray Man. But
the Alice Flag, the cemetery itself, the grounds, I mean, it's
really, really old cemetery. It's about as picturesque as you can imagine. It's got the mossy trees, a brick wall lining it, an old... Wouldn't describe it as like a classic looking church building. It looks more like the Jefferson Memorial building.
I don't know
except square.
Yeah.
But with the design with the pillars and all that.
It's really neat architecture. It's a really good location.
It's got a lot of graves from, I believe it was 1893 hurricane. That was also known as the Island Hurricane. And it was one of the worst in South Carolina history. And they've got a lot of those victims that are buried there.
Yeah, another very interesting location.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, you know, we just wanted to kind of talk about, you know, just some of our favorite places we've been. There's this one holler in West Virginia. I won't mention it by name. Jacob hasn't been there. I'm not quite ready to go back there myself. But if you were talking about, you know, just everything under the sun, I mean, this place had it. From, you know, weird creature sightings, Bigfoot type deals, to, you know, free-floating forms, to a disappearing graveyard. I mean, this place had it all. And it just, you know, that was a wild place. Had a really interesting experience there that, now I've just realized I can't go into the whole story because of time. But maybe that's something we'll do is a series of these.
Yeah, talk about different investigations.
Stories and all that.
Because it's weird. Most of our investigations have actually been separate.
Yeah.
When you think about it. We've only actually done maybe 50, maybe a little less than 50% of our cases we've actually been together.
When you were, last year when you were in military school, and the way my job is,
Yeah. There's a lot of locations in West Virginia. I actually stumbled upon some of his old stomping grounds. I was like, hey, I didn't know my dad was there. So we just kind of overlap on our investigation. There's been places he's checked out I haven't been to.
And it's cool, years later when he's gone back and had some of the similar experiences of what I've had.
Without even asking him about some of these
like
places.
I said, I've traced all over, southern West Virginia doing this. So, there's not a lot of places in West Virginia I haven't hit.
Yeah.
But, comment, let us know what you think about this. Like I said, we just want to do a little short video shoot. If you like this format or whatever, let us know, and maybe we can try to make it a weekly thing or a bi-weekly thing.
We'll have our cup of coffee, our little papers.
Yep.
It'd be like a talk show.
Why not?
Yeah, like Paranormal talk show.
Yeah, maybe you stumbled upon something. So, I'm going to come off camera so I can turn it off, but I want to thank y'all very much. And like I said, leave us a comment, give us a like, and we appreciate your time. Jake?
If you have a suggestion for a video or an experiment you would like to see, or you have a question for us, feel free to contact us, whether you want to post on the page or privately message us page. But
tell Holly hi.
Hi, Holly. Thank you all.